Tabletop Spotlight, brought to you by Dragon's Lair, Comics and Fantasy. Hey everyone, I'm AdamHarry from Bell Lost Souls with
Drake from Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy.
and we're back with another Tabletop Spotlight. Drake, this one is kind of tall, man. What is this box called?
Yeah, so this is Fall of Magic. It's almost an RPG, but I say more it's a collaborative storytelling game.
Okay.
It's a little bit more defined, a little bit more structured. It's not as open as a true RPG.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a really strong narrative-based,
Fall of Magic.
role-playing kind of adventure that you
Yeah.
go through with your friends.
Well, this looks really cool. It's a really interesting package. I haven't seen anything like this before as far as packaging. So
It's certainly not new by any means. I will say
Okay.
that it has been out for some time, but it hasn't really.
it's kind of an oldie but goodie, or
Yeah,
newer-ish oldie but
it's something
goodie.
that caught my eye. It's something really,
Okay.
really gorgeous and kind of unique as far as this kind of game goes.
Well, that's what we're all about checking out here at Tabletop Spotlight. So let's take a look inside Fall of Magic. Here we have Fall of Magic. So this box is really long. We actually had to turn it, obviously, so it would fit. But here's the back of the box, as you can see here. It's kind of got a nice like old school feel. I like the layout of it. It's very simple and clean. But it reminds me. I don't know why I'm getting this like tokeny vibe off of it.
Oh, very much.
Like the map. You
The
remember the
art
map?
evokes the same kind of thing.
Yeah, like the map that Tolkien had in the first Hobbit book. That was
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is what it reminds me of. I don't know.
Wait till you open it.
All right, let's do it. Let's open it. See what happens. Fall of Magic. Here we go. What is that?
So this
What
is
is
a
this?
scroll, as you may
Okay.
have noticed.
Yes.
Bound in
it
twine.
smells woodly.
Oh, it smells good. And this is actually your game board.
What? Okay, I was getting a Tolkien vibe before, but now
Yeah, now it's pretty
it's
intense.
on.
And like you go out to, I think, here-ish?
What?
You choose your name and where you're from.
Okay. And then what?
Well, the rule book's in here.
Okay. Well, let's go through. Ooh, little
There's a rule book.
little
Cloth little bag.
cloth sack there. Got a dice,
Metal coins.
metal coins.
Actually really nice.
Ooh, what are
I
these?
think those are islands.
Okay.
Yeah, those
Rubber
are
band
islands.
off here.
Oh, these are nice.
Some high quality islands and cards. These are big oversized cards too.
I think these represent story moments. Because they're like all specific symbols, like it's a sword and then it's broken. There's a lit candle, it's extinguished. There's the river and the
ocean?
sea. Yeah. Tree and, yeah.
That's
summer.
actually really cool. And they're like full on metal.
Metal.
Yeah, there's a tree. Clink, clink, clink.
These are nice.
Oh, it's like tree in bloom, tree in winter.
Yeah, so
or
it's
famine
kind of
or
like a
something like that.
heads or tails, positive, affirmative,
Okay.
sort of.
The lights on, the lights
Like
off.
Heads, tails,
Gotcha.
heads, tails, hatched, unhatched.
Okay, that's neat. You got a regular D6 here. Okay, so can we unroll this more, or is it more of a surprise if we don't?
Out of context, it doesn't spoil anything. No, yeah, open it.
Okay.
See how far it can go.
Well, we have a lot to go through. I don't want to unroll
it's a
this.
long story. But that's the idea. The whole thing of the story is as you go, you choose your path and you have to go through each one, and you get these little prompts rather than like full context. It's just.
I'm not going to go any further. I don't want to go any further then. I don't want to ruin it. But there's a lot of board left. Like, we have several rolls of the scroll to go through.
So the story here is basically the world. It's this kind of late, low fantasy kind of thing where magic is fading and magic is dying, and there is kind of this grand magus who's also dying with it. And so you, the people playing, are a party of adventurers who have to escort this NPC who you kind of take turns playing as and playing for. And escort him from the city of Ravenhall to the Umbra, which is a strange land far to the east where magic originally comes from.
Oh.
So, hoping that if you bring him there, maybe he can stir it back up and bring it back into the world.
Wow, okay. This sounds pretty intense. Like you were saying earlier, it's definitely more of a storytelling vibe.
Right. There's no crunch here. Like there's no stats, there's no classes, there's not like hard DCs. It's very narrative driven.
Well, this board is super unique. Board being the scroll. Well, that is very cool.
Story.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna pause real quick because I totally want to read through the rules. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, this is the Fall of Magic rules, and Drake and I just flipped through these, and I gotta say, this is probably one of the most unique games I've ever seen. It's a storytelling game, not unlike an RPG, but there's no
also very
dungeon master.
different from an RPG.
Yeah. The story is very open. We'll get to that. Again, like Drake mentioned earlier, Magus is dying. Magic's dying with him. You're playing a party,
yes,
and you're traveling with the Magus to try to find the source of magic again. So, yeah. So this is a story game, and this kind of explains what this is all about. I'm not gonna read this all aloud, but I'm gonna read the headers real quick. It's like a conversation. So you're basically talking with the other players and describing what's going on.
Right. There's
right or wrong answer.
Yeah, there's no prompt to like, oh, we got to look that up. There's nothing here.
There's no rules.
That contradict.
Like
it's
rolling
really
rules.
open.
Yeah.
So in some ways, that sounds incredible to a lot of people, but also to some people, it also is like, okay, based on who you're playing with, this could quickly devolve into just kind of
a weird
thing.
Yeah,
you have to
but that's
come
why
into it with this very deliberate, kind of open mind of what you're actually expecting.
Right, and that's why they say, again, the next thing is think small. So, when it's time to make something up, just think about that and don't plan too far ahead. Let the story kind of develop organically with the other players involved.
Don't be a DM.
Right, don't be the DM. Be the player describing the scene, but don't take over and be like, oh, and then this guy does this, and you keep it short. Social fantasy. The game centers around the characters, relationships, and exploration of culture. And again, it's social fantasy. You can bring in a lot of extra stuff with that, and it's this is a very unique experience. Safety first. Again, just if it gets weird, say something. That's pretty much what that's talking about. That makes me uncomfortable. I don't really want to get into that.
Well,
so
you're being mean.
Yeah, or you're being awkward just to be awkward. Setup. So it does use the scroll and the introduction. You read that out loud. Choose your name. Choose your title. So. Choose your tokens, place the Magus. So real quick, Drake and I are just going to show this off real fast. So if Drake and I were playing, we'd start, we'd pick, this is the Magus, I believe, this guy.
Actually, I think it is open.
pick.
You can choose your token based on who you're going to be.
Okay, so Drake, who would you want to be?
Like I'm going to be Vago of Mistwood. I'm going to use this token.
Okay. Vago, you have to pick a title.
Oh, Ranger of Mistwood.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna pick this river, and I'm gonna be Piccolo, midwife of Barleytown. Yes. You don't know. And then from there, we'd place the Magus. And we'd start playing, and again, this is kind of cool. You unroll the scroll. This is basically page 1 of the adventure, and this is going to work basically just like a story adventure. So this breaks down like where the parts of the scroll, the location, the scenes. Each one of these red locations is a location, but it's also the scene. So, for instance, if I took Piccolo of Barleytown, the midwife of Barleytown, I went to the bridge. This is one of the examples in here. One of the things I have to do is describe the bridge, and then I have to the prompt is your face in the river. So it has to involve something about me, the player, seeing my face in the river, my character seeing their face in the river, and they're reflecting on that. So you just talk about that. So I'd be like, I walk to the bridge, and it's a smooth paved road. It's a smooth bridge, smooth stone bridge, gray stone, pretty well constructed. And I look down in the river, and I see my face of a old haggard midwife and think to myself, I'm glad I never had children. Something like that. Like just something like that. That would be the start of my story.
And in that you develop that little bit more about Piccolo, like find out who they are.
Yeah, and then you from there.
Still gender neutral at this point. I'm not entirely sure.
You don't know. And then Drake, you're up. Where do you want to go?
And then
so these would be the Rose Garden has these little plus signs.
Right. So just to illustrate, Vago will travel to the Rose Garden.
Vago the Ranger Vago the Ranger of Mistwood travels to the Rose Garden, and then Drake takes away.
And so he arrives in these Rose Gardens, and it's these kind of like cobblestone paths leading his network through this large gorgeous set of gardens, this kind of green space that inhabits the center of Ravenhall, which is kind of known to be this seat of learning and this last kind of bastion of magical study in this world where it's kind of disappearing. And so when I'm here, I have to just pick one of these kind of attributes and get assigned
to a player.
To a player, right?
Yeah. So which one? So then you have to use one of those in the descriptor for somebody. So you could do, and there's no restrictions on who. It could be the Magus, it could be the other players, it could be yourself.
It could be me.
Yeah. So you give that one of these adjectives to, who would you give it to?
I'm probably going to be assigning it to Vago himself. And as he's traveling through these gardens, he brushes up against a twig and he flashes back to his days of training back in the forest when he was growing up. And for a brief moment, he has this flashback, crouching in the dirt, the brush and the bramble scraping against his face as he's stalking his first kill. And for a brief moment, somebody else, another patron, kind of puts his hand on him, he turns around with a snarl, and they recoil.
Oh,
so he's
fierce.
getting the attribute fierce.
Okay, so that was way more descriptive than I was going for, but thanks, Drake. Thanks for showing me up on that one. But that's basically what you do, and then you move the Magus around. The Magus moves from the key locations to key locations, and you kind of follow along, and you tell that story. And follow him, and you tell this whole story. It gives you some really good tips. Start with physical descriptions. Use your senses: touch, smell, taste. Speak in character. Ask somebody to play the part in your scene. Maybe I was gonna play the person that walks up to Vago.
Yeah, turns around and snarls, and maybe it's Piccolo who recoils.
Yeah, maybe Piccolo was there. Stuff like that. So this is really cool because later on there's I'll skip ahead here. There's other places where you can actually run into trouble, where you roll the die to see what happens. There's also changes that happen with the leaf here, where this is an example of the marketplace of magic, where you have to pay an unusual price, where you actually lose your name, your title, or an attribute.
So or at least change it.
Or at least change it.
Change or remove.
Yeah, and you're supposed to play this game with a notepad that has your character name written down, your title.
Or even just a little note card.
Yeah, and you write that down. So, but basically, as you travel through the game, you may not finish all in one night, honestly, because you're supposed to play for about a 2-hour session and then take a break or whatever. But there's a lot of story here. So think of it like chapters, basically. When you feel like a good break point, you call it last round, do one last playthrough. And you can do other stuff like maybe Piccolo moves from the bridge to the menagerie now. And then you remembers, the last time Piccolo saw real magic. So, and I'm not gonna do that scene yet because I'll be on the spot and I don't want to think about it. But this is by far one of the most unique role-playing storytelling games I've ever seen. So, with a complete lack of stats and dice, and a completely wide open thing. It's got a plot.
I also feel like this is something that can strengthen you as a player in those other games.
Absolutely.
Just to remind you to every once in a while look past those, especially as a DM.
Right.
If somebody wants to start DMing, this is some of the skills are the same.
Yeah, the storytelling and the
being able to narrate on the spot and make things short and keep things those are all really, really strong assets for a DM to have and for players to have. And
absolutely.
And playing their characters kind of extended beyond what their +2 to hit with their longbow.
Mr. Ranger over here. Yeah. I've never played a midwife, so I was going in that one.
I've never played a ranger.
I have played a ranger. See, if I had played a ranger, I could have had a cool story too. But anyway, moving on.
I like the idea of the midwife traveling. Yeah. Figuring out why.
Maybe the midwife's more of a... See, and this is the type of conversation that you have at the table with your friends talking about why are they traveling? Why would a midwife travel? Maybe the midwife, maybe he or she was a cleric and that was the last time they saw real magic is why they stopped being a cleric and they became the midwife. If that just builds the whole story out, you get to create the story with your friends and play through a really cool looking adventure without any dice rolls other than the D6s for what happens.
Which are just
story prompts. Yeah. So this seems like an awesome game. This seems like a really fun thing for a weekend, a game session, a multi-campaign thing. And like Drake said, if you're a DM or aspiring DM or a player in other RPGs, if you just want to become a better storyteller and a better player, check this game out. Super cool. Let's hop out for a recap. Wow, so that was Fall of Magic. I am truly impressed by this game. Like I really want to play this game just as the storytelling experience with a friend, with like my RPG friends. Like I think it'd be amazing.
And it is worth saying this also that this is the deluxe edition of it.
Okay.
I assume that there are
non-deluxe versions.
Yeah, where it's like maybe I think the scroll is replaced with like a booklet.
And maybe not metal tokens.
Yeah,
either.
the tokens are
okay. Well,
like
real quick,
or plastic or something. I don't remember. I don't know for sure. I just assume as much.
Let's run some numbers on this real quick. Fall of Magic. What's this one going to run you?
This is $75 even in the store.
I can see why. After flipping through it, that's some high quality material in there. Price point's a little high, but
it's also a very different kind of demographic. It's this really, really pretty kind of heady atmospheric game.
Yeah.
So I understand where that's coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit out there from your normal game, but that's what you're getting this for.
You shouldn't get this by yourself. That's the thing. You should go with like a group of people who like that will be interested. So it's a kind of a pretty specific kind of thing.
So this is again 75. What was 2 to 4 players? So that's what he's talking about, a group. You're looking at 2 to 4 hours.
Depending on just how you feel.
Right.
You're probably going to play for more than once and continue the story into multiple
This
sessions.
suggests 1 to 3 sessions. So if you factor in 2 to 4 hours, 1 to 3 sessions, that's a pretty good weekend. That's like 3 weekends of gaming for me. So, and then it is ages 8 and up.
Yeah, which I think is really, really cool because it's so light on the crunch and like those math skills that you need, and it's so open. It's something you could easily sit down with a family and kind of. You wanted this if you were that kind of family. If you wanted to do something like that.
If you wanted to teach your kids a little bit about the role playing or the storytelling side of games,
or just a way to encourage creativity and like to help
get your brain gears going.
Yeah,
your brain and your mind and your heart. Wait, your head, heart. Check it out. This is a super cool game. Very unique setting. Just the materials alone are just phenomenal.
Design group is called Heart of the Deernicorn. Something like
Yeah, Deernicorn. All right, that's what we're going with. This is truly unique experience. Go check it out. It's in stores now. It's been out for a while, but anyway. I'm AdamHarry from Bell Lost Souls.
And I'm Drake with Dragons Are Comics and Fantasy.
And this has been another Tabletop Spotlight. Thanks again for watching. Tabletop Spotlight brought to you by Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy. Thanks for watching.